If you're thinking about loading on a Progressive but haven't, this video guide will help you get started. Hey guys, Gavin Gear here from UltimateReloader.com. If you want to reload in style and if you want to reload really efficient, you need a Progressive press. But if you haven't loaded on a Progressive press, it can be really intimidating knowing what you're going to need in terms of equipment, what you're going to need in terms of skills, how to set up and run the machine. This video is not an in-depth how-to guide. It's more like a quick start tutorial to evaluate those factors. Here on UltimateReloader.com, we have literally thousands of videos that will go into the minute details of each particular machine, setting up for progressive operation, running machines in a regular consumer context and commercial context. Okay, so let's start with the general question, what is a progressive press? We have a video on types of presses. Basically, you have presses that either do one thing at a time or do multiple things at a time. Your simplest press is a single stage press. You've got the ram and a die. It does one thing at a time. If you want to change what you're doing, you have to change out the dies. A more efficient workflow for single operations would be accomplished with a turret press. It's just like a single stage press, but you've got a turret of dies that can spin into position. Very easy to spin those dies, and then you can do one thing, index the next die, do the next thing, and so on and so forth. So single operation presses, single stage, and turret. Progressive presses do multiple things at the same time with every pull of the lever. So this is a Dillon XL750. This can do 5 things at once. Now, when you think about progressive loading, there are trade-offs as well. Progressive presses are going to be more expensive, more complex, and involve more setup time. But if you're loading thousands and thousands of rounds, it's definitely the way to go. Okay, so let's next talk about a topic that was really the motivation for me starting UltimateReloader.com. Deciding on the right gear. I went through a crippling process of analysis paralysis trying to decide which 5-station progressive reloader to buy. And I thought, I want to share more of this with the world, hence Ultimate Reloader, right? So this is a subject that's very dear to my heart. When it comes to buying a progressive press, you're kind of buying into a system. Think about your Apple iMac and your Apple iWatch and your iPhone, right? They're all made to work together, and Apple wants you to spend a bunch of money on all of this sort of matching and interoperable accessories. Think about a camera system. If you have a Canon camera with an RF mount, now you're kind of committed to buying RF lenses. And life is good if you stay in that ecosystem, but if you want to do something different, there can be additional learning activities, additional costs, and so on and so forth. There also is a mild to wild world of different options for progressive reloading equipment in terms of the quality of the materials, the quality of the engineering, the complexity of the machine, the capabilities, and some of these trade-offs really are not a drastic win on either end of the spectrum. For instance, a more complex press could be something like an 8-station press or a 10-station press. That doesn't necessarily mean it's better. For the guy that wants to reload 308 ammo for high power NRA competition in his garage, right? You might actually be better off with a simpler press if it's going to do the job for you, and if you're frequently switching calibers and doing a lot of different things, that simplicity can be a key point in the equation. You also want to think about what company is going to give you really good support. This press here is made by Dillon Precision. They have unparalleled lifetime warranty type support. They've been here pretty much the longest in the progressive space, and their products are tried and true, right? That's something to evaluate when you think about which piece of equipment that you're going to go for. So when it comes to station count, there are all sorts of options. Ones that come to me off the top of my head: 3-station, 4-station, a lot of 5-station options, 7-station, 8-station, 10-station, right? Why would you ever need 10 stations? It boils down to the fact that you can isolate different activities, swaging in a different station, right? You can do powder check and then bullet feed, bullet seat, and bullet crimp, all in separate stations. Some presses even have multiple decapping stations, right, for redundancy. So there are a lot of different factors to consider. And then again, you get into the quality and the complexity and the comprehensiveness of the machine will also dictate the price. And some presses are going to come with more components and parts. For instance, both small and large primer setups. And that might be an upfront investment you make for a more expensive press, but it saves you money down the road. And here I should mention there are two great resources that we've put together here at Ultimate Reloader. We've got the Progressive Press Shootout, which is basically all of the different progressive presses compared. If you want to get into the numbers, we got the numbers. If you want to get into the features and pros and cons, we've got all of that. I also put together a video and an article, which is the Dillon Progressive Press Buyer's Guide. We've got the Square Deal B, we've got the RL550C in previous versions, we've got the XL650, which was replaced with the 750. We've got the RL1100 and the Super 1050, right? RL1100 being the latest version. Bunch of different options, and all of those price breakdowns, pros and cons, capabilities, capacities, all compared in one story. So you also want to check that out. So let's do a quick demo. This is a 9mm Parabellum setup on an XL750, and this is pretty much what you get when you buy the press. I will note that the motorized case feed bowl is an add-on, but it's a lower cost add-on because everything kind of below the motorized case feed bowl is actually included with the press. It includes large and small priming. It has 5 stations. You can pull 2 pins here and very quickly pull out the tool head for caliber changes. It's got dedicated case feed parts for the caliber change, which give you basically better functioning and quicker caliber changeovers, right? So this being a 5-station press, this is going to be when you're going to basically move up from entry-level capabilities to intermediate level capabilities. No, this is not a 10-station press, but what you can do is something like, I'll give you our setup here first. Station number 1, we've got sizing and depriming. Station number 2, we've got the powder charge and case mouth expansion. That case mouth gets belled out ever so slightly to accept a bullet at the top, and then we've got priming on the bottom. Then we've got bullet seating and bullet crimping, and we've got an empty station. We could also do some other magic here to accommodate a bullet feed station if we wanted to, and so on and so forth. If you're loading rifle ammunition, typically you need less stations. If you're loading pistol ammunition, typically you need more stations because you've got crimping, and sometimes crimping separately. If you can separate the seating and crimping, it makes the adjustments of those dies a lot easier, for instance. So the XL750 is a great all-rounder press because it's quality, it's got 5 stations, Dillon has a great level of support, and you know you're gonna have a system that's gonna retain value and it's gonna work well for you. It's well-engineered machines, very much tried and true. So that's an overview of this particular press. Next, let's do a live loading demo. So I've already got the press fully set up to load 9mm, and I've also kind of loaded up all of the stations so that we're in what I call steady state loading, where all the stations are full. We're going to place a bullet with the left hand, pull the handle with the right hand, and each time we actuate the lever, we're getting a complete cartridge rolling off into the completed cartridge bin, which is just amazing. This is a very much more efficient way to load ammunition, and really what it comes down to is knowing the rhythm of pulling the handle, which will get faster. I'm not running case lube. You saw a little bit of a stick there for the neck expander. If I pull up a little bit faster right there, it'll just pull right out. So it's really all about knowing your machine. What does your machine want for those minute little setup tweaks to run perfect? An example, the tension of the shell plate. You back off the screw a little bit, it allows the shell plate to rotate. You back it off too much and cases start flying out, right? Dillon also does a really good job supplying very comprehensive setup instructions with a paper book that you can go through step by step with high quality photos. And they get down into the minutia of setting up the machine, right? The rhythm of pulling the handle, that's the other part where you're gonna learn when you need to go faster and when you need to go slower. If you've got a .22 caliber case neck on your 22 GT ammunition that you're loading progressively, and a bunch of powder has to go through that tiny opening, you're going to let it linger at the top with the handle at the bottom a little bit longer until all that powder has gone into the case, and then go ahead and continue the process, and so on and so forth. So loading on a progressive definitely will speed up your operation, and it will allow you to spend more time shooting and less time loading. But it is a bit of a journey. So if you've never seen a progressive press in operation, and or if you're just contemplating whether or not you want to load progressively, it's really all about knowing what you want to do. How many rounds per year are you going to be loading? How many different cartridges do you need to change between? Pistol and rifle, large primers and small primers. Different cartridges, in some cases, can reuse certain parts of the caliber conversion kit. For instance, a .308 caliber conversion kit will have the same shell plate as a .65 Creedmoor caliber conversion kit. So you have to go through and do a little bit of analysis to see how much time am I going to save by running a progressive. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm mechanically inclined, right? What's my budget? The lowest budget setup is always going to be the more simple single stage or turret setup. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to load 500 or 1,000 rounds that way. It just takes way too much time. Also, take your time to get set up. Don't be in a rush, and pay attention to the small details, and that will go a long ways towards making your setup quicker and also allowing you to enjoy the progressive reloading process even more. And finally, know that we have literally thousands of videos on Ultimate Reloader. We've got videos on every progressive reloader currently on the market and some that are not on the market anymore. We've got the buyer's guides, the Dillon Press buyer's guide and the Progressive Press shootout that should answer all of the questions. Now, if you still have questions, or if you want to share some anecdotes about what I've been talking about getting started progressive loading, definitely drop that comment down in the comments section and we can discuss. Thank you very much for watching. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.